Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our monthly Anewgo Amplify session with our very own Beth Byrd. So this month it's all about how on-site sales can use Anewgo tools that you already have to help you sell more homes. So with that, I'm going to be monitoring our chat. If you have any questions, feel free to submit. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Beth. Beth, take it away.
Thanks, Sonia. So many of you probably know that I worked on-site sales for a builder for many years. So a lot of this comes from my own experience. These are things that I did, but I will say there are others that I need to credit for some of this material. As I've gotten to meet many of our clients around the country, I've asked, tell me how you're using the tools, and some of these ideas come from them as well. So I want to give credit where credit is due. But as I thought about this topic, I thought, let's break it into the actual timeline that you have with a customer. Let's start with before the appointment, at the appointment, and after the appointment. So that's how we're going to lay things out today. So let's start before the appointment. Sometimes, and I should say before you meet the customer, sometimes it is an appointment that's come from your online sales team, your internet sales team, that you know about. And in that case, you can prepare for that meeting. Like I usually do, I'm going to share my live screen with you. We don't have a slideshow today. We just have actual tools. So I'm going to share. Here we go. All right. I am in the back end of our Insights tool. This is our demo website, so you can see we just have lots of test emails in here, but I set up a test account for myself. So imagine that you got a message that Beth has an appointment with you tomorrow coming into the model. You can come in here and pull all of the information about my sign-in. Look at what I've been signing in. This is just basic data, but let's just jump up here to the favorites and see. Boy, I've got quite a few homes in my shopping cart right now. So this will help give you an idea. What am I looking at? What do we focus on? Looks like I'm looking at two different communities. So maybe you want to be prepared for cross-selling between those two locations. If we jump over to the analytics tab here, we'll be able to see, okay, it looks like generally Beth is liking the darker color scheme for the paint. She keeps choosing the bump out of the family room in her brochures. The sliding glass door is another popular one. I can view those brochures. In fact, you might even print one and have it ready ahead of time for when the buyer comes in. So this is just a really helpful tool to prepare, to review, so that when I come in the front door, you as the salesperson are saying, welcome, so glad you're here. I've talked to our team. I've looked at your account that you've set up online, and here's what I see you're interested in. Are we heading in the right direction? So no sense starting at the beginning of discovery if all of this information is already available for them. Okay, the other thing I will say in terms of preparing for your appointment, and this really probably should go without saying, but make sure you're comfortable using the app and using the tools. Are you comfortable navigating through your sales center kiosk? Are you comfortable navigating through the app? Because it's really important that you understand how to find what you need to find quickly so that you can demonstrate it. So before the appointment, those are the two things. Practice, make sure you know how to use the app, and look at the buyer's profile. Okay, so now let's talk about when they come to meet with you in person at the appointment, or maybe it's a walk-in customer. So this tool that I have open, this is our Sales Center kiosk. I know many of you have it. For those that don't, you can call me if you have questions. We can actually try the first one out for free. It's a really good tool to plug in full screen on a touchscreen monitor. Maybe that's a big TV hanging on the wall, or maybe it's an iPad that you have that is on the go, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But you want to be introducing and using technology early in your presentation. You want to have a consistent marketing story from the website to that pre-appointment time they're spending on your app or your website to when they come into your sales office or model home. And this Sales Center app is really a great way to do that. So there are two things I would have ready. One, have this ready on, if you've got a big touchscreen TV, that's ideal. If you don't, you could have this ready on your laptop or desktop computer, whatever computer you're using in the model home. Have this ready to go. And then on your cell phone, have a tab open in your browser or with your website if you have an Anewgo website. So those tools are ready to just jump into, and you're not spending that extra time fumbling to get to that URL. You want them to be easy to access. And really, you want to use this to show, not just tell. Sometimes as salespeople, it's easy to talk and talk, but people want to see what you're talking about. And so this gives an opportunity as you're talking about the beautiful amenities in the community, you can be tapping through these pictures. And how much more does this create excitement and interest in them when you're showing them pictures of the fitness center in the community, or the lake where they can practice water sports, or the pool where they can hang out with the family. This creates so much more emotion than just our words alone can create. So use these tools to show, not just tell, and then let them take the wheel, because it's just like learning any skill. We learn best by doing. And so if the buyer is the one tapping through these pictures themselves, they're probably going to connect with them more than if you were just doing it for them. So start out showing them how to do it, and then let them get involved. Let them do that. Take them to the home site map and get them to start clicking around on these home sites to see what's available. Get them to start clicking through and designing their plan and understand how the tool works. This is also great to take on the go. I mentioned earlier an iPad. So if you've got this on an iPad, and maybe you're walking an empty home site. Let's jump back to the community map here. Maybe you're walking this empty home site here. If you have the site map open on your iPad, they can very easily understand how is it relating to what's around it. Because when you're on big open land, sometimes it's really hard to tell where things start and stop, where other homes are going to be, how it relates to the amenities or maybe the green space behind it. So having this available as a reference can really help. It also is nice, let's say that pool isn't built yet. If you include a hotspot in there, we can pull up a picture of the pool. Maybe it's a rendering or a sample image of what it may look like, for them to be able to imagine what is that going to be like when this part of the neighborhood is finished. Or maybe we're talking about an inventory home. We're walking in an inventory home that's for sale on lot 26. If we pull this up and have it available here where we're viewing the features, we can look at the materials that are on the outside when we're on the outside. We can pull the floor plan, there we go, and look at the floor plan and really zoom in on an area. So if they've got questions about something, you've got your room dimensions here, you've got all the details. I especially used to use this when I was walking through a home that was just in framing. People were struggling to understand, what do these sticks mean that are up here in the air? But when you can show them this, they go, oh, I get it. Okay, that's bedroom 3, where they're just looking through a bunch of lumber otherwise. So this is really helpful to utilize in that situation. This is also the #1 way that I would get contact information from a buyer when I was in the model home, especially we're talking back to walk-ins, because appointments, you already have their info. But if you've got somebody who's walked in and you're showing them these home site maps, you're exploring plans, you're showing them how the outside can change colors, I would say, if you want to play with this on your own at home, I'd be happy to text you a link so you can do it too. And everybody said yes. No one said no to that. Everyone was glad to give me their contact information. And I didn't handle it as, okay, now fill out my reg card. I'm literally like, I'm using it on my phone and I'm saying, let me just text it to you now. And I'm entering their phone number directly in my phone. And it really created a strong, immediate flow of communication back and forth between us with something that created value for them, which we know is key. They're giving us their contact information in exchange for something of value. Okay, another one to think about. Sometimes people are struggling to make a decision, and these tools can be great to help them narrow down. I was talking to a great sales professional who was telling me a story about how she used the kiosk to do this. They were really struggling with making a decision between a couple different elevations. It might have been, or it might have been color schemes, I can't remember. But she said, let's just look at this together. So open up the app, Let's compare the 3 elevations. Let's see them side by side here, or let's build them out one at a time and compare at the end and see which options we like. This just helps you in that narrowing down. It can also help you in overcoming objections. Another great story, let's jump back to the area map here. So in the area map, you can set up your own pins for locations, maybe fun things to do, or nearby hospitals or schools or shopping, whatever. But there was a buyer that came into this sales professional's office and they said, I'm not sure that this is the right location for me. Wife was really excited. Husband said, I work at the airport. I need to be 40 minutes from the airport. So the salesperson found the airport on the map here. I'm not going to get to a map, but let's just click on this one here. Hit view on Google Maps, pulled directions from their model home to that airport and found out it was indeed less than the 40 minutes that he had required away. And his objection of location was overcome very easily. And again, it's because you're showing them. You're not just saying it. They don't just have to take you for your word. You're putting proof in front of them. That was a great example of doing that. The important part here is when you're showing them how to use these tools and encouraging them to play with them at home, is giving them the why. Why does this matter? Like I said earlier, we're asking for contact information in exchange for something of value. The same with this tool. We want them to understand the value to them is being able to save their favorites and pick back up in the design process so that they don't have to start at square one every time, but they can come back to what they have saved that's important to them. They could share it with family, with friends, maybe with their realtor. And once they understand the why, they're going to be far more likely to sign in, which means you are far more likely to get all of this really good information about what they're doing on the back end of your site, because if they don't create an account, you're not going to get the benefit of all of this. So you've got to tell the story. And I will say, put a bug in your marketing team's ear if you feel like your website isn't doing this well. Your website should also be telling the story of why they should save to favorites, why they want to create an account. All right, so that covers when they're in your model home. Let's talk about after the appointment. What can we do after the appointment? The first thing that I would do typically when the buyer left was send my thanks for coming email. And I would include a link to the app. Even if I had texted it to them directly, I would still include a link to the app or again to that part of my website if I have an Anewgo website, so that they can directly find the information that's relevant to them. If you want to take it to the next level, you can even send them the brochure that you've maybe created together in the model home, which I should have mentioned that in the model home phase, create a brochure before they leave of exactly what they're looking at. So it's not just the generic brochure that you would send them out the door with, but this is the house they designed with their colors, with their floor plan options, things that are unique to them. This is really a powerful tool to send with them, but email them the copy when they leave. That's even better so that they've got a copy that they can't lose. We know that they may be going out to see other builders after they see you. And if they're like me, some of those papers are ending up on the floor of the car, which means they end up in the trash later. We don't want that to happen. So by emailing them the brochure, you ensure that they have continued access to that valuable resource that you're providing them. Okay, so that's right after they leave. Later on, when you're trying to follow up, this is where I would come back to this tool. This tool is going to show you, have they been back recently? What's happening over time? Have they disappeared, or has their interest peaked? Look, all of a sudden there's a lot more things happening with Beth's profile in the last 24 hours. She's interested. Let me see what she's interested in. And it gives me an opportunity to have valuable follow-up that's really relevant. Maybe the interest is shifting from the Shepherd plan that Beth liked when she was at the model over to the Bristol plan. This information is going to be available to me if I'm utilizing the Insights tool. So make sure you keep an eye on that and then make your follow-up relevant to exactly what they're doing online. Okay, here's a fun tip. This is specifically for our website customers. So I'm already signed in here and I've got a favorites account here. You can see what I did. I built a house for the fake Myers family, and then I sent it to the Myers family, and I can invite them to rate it. So you can, as a salesperson, create your own account, save favorites for specific buyers, and share them with them. And then when they sign in on their end, this home will get added to their favorites. They can design it, they can share it. In fact, let me show you here. When you send it, you can give them just view privileges or view and edit privileges, which would be right. You can see here at the bottom, view and edit this favorite. And you can send it to multiple people. So maybe you're sending it to husband and wife's email. Maybe you're sending it to their real estate agent who brought them to you in the first place. This is a great way to create trust with that agent. Let's say the agent called, said, I've got the Myers family. I'm going to be at another showing. I can't come with them, but they're working with me. Register them as my buyer. So you do that. And then in that follow-up, by including the realtor in this conversation, they feel like they know what's going on. They have access to information about the product that the buyer's interested in, and keeping them engaged on your website. And again, the favorites with the ratings are unique to Anewgo website customers. That said, you can create a home in your current marketing app and share that with others. It just can't be rated. Okay, let's see. Let me look at my notes here. The thing that I think is really important to consider also is how can you work together with your marketing team to create resources? Because as you use these, you're going to identify things that will help enrich these tools for your buyers. So for example, these little hotspots, the little camera, and this can be any icon you want, those may not be there initially. You've got just a blank map, but if you have people asking frequently about a particular point on the map, you're out there all the time. Shoot a picture, get that to your marketing team, especially back here. Look at what a great view these must have. Trees, really pretty. You could add a hotspot to home sites 19 and 20. That's a picture looking out to the back that would give a view from the back of that lot. And that would be a huge selling feature for that home site, wouldn't it? Look at what's unique and see what resources you can provide the marketing team to add content to these tools that will really help to paint the picture better for the buyer and create more of an engaging experience for them. Same with the plans. If you've got quick move-ins, keep in mind we can always add real pictures to these listings here. You can see this one just has an image of the color scheme because this one's pretty early in construction, but you could easily add pictures as it is under construction into the app. So in the model home, when you're flipping quickly between the different spec homes available, you would be able to access all of the pictures. So find ways to identify opportunities for you to help the marketing team and add content to it. Okay, let's see. Oh, maps. Yes, the maps are also a great way in your follow-up to create urgency. This is a new community. We just had 2 home sites sold when the buyers came in, maybe 2 more sold this week. Send them a link to the map and say, guess what? 2 more sold. And as they see that change happening on the map, they're going to feel that urgency. Oh, I better do something before the home site I'm interested in sells, or oh, my first choice just sold, I better jump in before my second choice sells. So use the maps to create urgency. All right, let me see if I've missed anything. I think the key to this really is 2 things: benefit to you and benefit to the buyer. So let's talk first about the benefit to you. This can replace your old sales binder. I had one for a long time, 3-ring binder full of plats and notes and floor plans and information. There was a lot to keep up with, and it was old school, right? This gets all of that information at your fingertips anywhere you are. You're on the go, it's on your phone, it's ready. You've got your iPad, you're on a home site, it's ready and available to share with the buyer in a way that's much more professional than the old school binder that I had with highlights or maybe colored dots on which home sites were available versus which were sold. That's benefit to you. You're going to come across as much more professional, prepared, and organized. Benefit to the buyer is really turning them into an active dreamer. That's the goal here, right? Let them imagine, let them dream. What would their future be like in a brand new home from your company? The black and white floor plan brochures just don't really do that in the way that something like this can. We talked earlier about emotion and excitement, about showing, not just telling, interacting with these visualizer tools of all different types, whether it's these great photo galleries or interacting with a floor plan and picking the colors that they're excited about, that are important to them. That's going to really engage them and help them start to dream about what would my life look like in this new home and create that emotional connection that you are looking to create. Okay, last thing I want to do is tell you, if you have questions, if you need help, if you or your team need training, I'm happy to do that for you guys. I'd be glad to come and join one of your sales meetings or schedule a special sales training and talk about how to utilize these tools in your process, in your model home setup, whatever your situation is. I'm glad to help with that. So feel free to reach out if I can be of interest to you.
And lastly, of course, we recorded this session, so we will be sending it out to you at some point. Give me a couple of weeks because I'm heading out on vacation. So we're going to take a little break from social media and from all the things coming your way. But I'll get it out to you before our next session for sure. And if you guys, again, have questions about specific use cases, specific tools you want us to cover, please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to cover that topic for you. So with that, I think we're all done. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Bye.
you.